Hello again and welcome back to my shop. My name is Rick and I'm with Rick Racks Woodworking, and the shop is coming along great, and I've finished up all of the interior panels, interior walls, put all the cover plates on my outlets and started moving my tools in. And at this point I'm ready to start building a workbench on one end of the shop, shaped like a C, to give me a work area all the way around to assemble products and to work on plans and so forth. So stick around and watch how we do it. We're going to start, this is one end of the building that we're going to start on. And what I'm going to do is we're going to start right over here at the doorway. And my benches that I'm building will start at the doorway and come right across here under the windows, and then come across this back wall as my main working area back through here. And then it'll turn and go underneath the air condition and across that wall. And that will give me a full work area all the way around to assemble my products and to work my plans. In order to start the process for building the workbench, we're going to use the radial arm saw and make the legs first. So I'll need 6 2x4s 36 inches long for the first bench that goes across the back wall. So we'll start, we squared off this one end, and we're going to go and cut, like I said, 6 pieces for the legs at 36 inches length. Now that we're ready to start cutting our legs, the first thing we want to do anytime you use a power tool, especially a radial arm saw, is you want to protect your hearing, because you don't have but one set of ears. So we're going to use Mickey Mouse ears to protect the hearing. And anytime you are cutting, you also want to use safety glasses, and be careful and be aware of what you're doing. Now that we have 6 of our legs cut at 36 inches, we need to make some stiles to go from the front leg to the back leg to add some strength to the ends. There will be 15.5 inches a piece. So we've made a pattern here, and we'll start making that, and we'll need 6 of those as well. So we'll start with that. Now that we've got our legs cut and our stiles cut, we've got to drill some pocket holes in the legs and the stiles to put them together. And the reason I'm using pocket holes instead of an overlap is because at some point in time I'm going to be putting some drawers and some cabinet doors on the shelves, so I want everything to line up flush. So we're going to start with our Kreg jig, and since we're dealing with 2x4s, we're going to set this up for 1.5 inches depth, because of the 2x4s are actually 1.5 inches, not 2 inches. We're going to set our pocket hole drill bit to 1.5 inches. So it'll drill the right depth, and we will tighten the collar so we can get the right depth on all of our drill holes. And then we'll be ready to start. So just stay tuned and see how this comes out. Now, the boards look like this. This is the stiles, and we have 2 pocket holes on each side. And what we're going to do is it's just going to secure right here to the upper legs. Now, normally you would not need to use glue with a pocket hole system like Kreg has, but since I want to get a lot and lots of years use out of this workbench, I don't want to take a chance. I'd rather spend a little extra money and glue it to make sure that it's going to be a good solid frame for this workbench. So we're going to take a little glue and spread it on the end grain. There we go. Now we got glue. Just going to spread it out with our fingers. Give it a good coat because the end grain will soak it up. We're going to put it up next to the upright legs, clamp it together, and with Craig's pocket holes, we can just set this in place. Put glue on the other side. Get it ready to glue up to the other leg. Now we'll get things positioned to do the bottom legs. We're going to use a spacer here to get the height right for the style for the bottom where it's going to hold a shelf. And we'll put a little glue on that on both ends for a little extra strength. Hopefully I don't make too big a mess. Now in this particular case, since I don't have enough room to clamp with the flat type Kreg clamps, Kreg thinks of everything and they've come up with a special clamp that goes into the pocket holes on one side and pulls the piece together to give you a good tight joint. So you just put it there and then pull it close together. And that gives us a good solid joint. Take the spacer out. That gives us one good leg with everything flush. Now we've got the first section of 3 put together, and now maybe it makes sense why I went with pocket hole joinery the way I did, because it gives me a flush finish all the way around. So as I go through the process and get it built, I can come back at a later date and put a door or put drawers in there without having to build a face frame. That way everything will line up and everything will still look good without having to spend the extra money for a face frame. Now we'll just put together the other 2 and join it to this one, and then we'll be on our way. Okay guys, if you can look at behind me, you can see that I've got the framework built and in place for my first set of benches on the back wall. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some tops out of 3/4 inch plywood, and it will be a combination of plywood as well as 3/4 inch birch plywood, because what I'm using is my scrap bin supplies rather than going and getting full sheets at the home center. So we'll start here and we'll just cut these down to 24 inches depth, and then I'll cut it as I need it to go across. Okay, I've got my tops cut down and I've got them placed in the proper location. What I want to do now is I want to secure the tops down to the frame of the workbench, and I'm going to use 1¼ inch coarse screws, since I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, and that'll allow me to replace it as I need it over the years. Now, what I want to do is run a row of screws across the back, but across the front, since I've got an overhang here, a little trick of the trade is taking your tri-square and putting it up there to go to the edge of the frame, and that gives me 1 3/8 inches, and I'm using 2x construction, so half of the 1.5 inches is 3/4. So we'll move it up to about 2 1/8. That'll give me a location, a cheat point for the screw to go in the front. So we'll start at the back first. Okay, and using a little trick I was showing you, you just put it up there on the top. You know about where to put your screw to hit the stud without coming through. And at the joint line, we need one on each side. Well, folks, the first workbench is complete. I'm excited. I'll be adding a workbench on that side and one on this side throughout the week, so I can get everything stored in here and have a place to work. And I'm getting really excited because now I'm actually working in my shop. So that's very exciting. Thanks for watching. Hope you like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like.